But like in Libya at the moment, we have two central banks, which is I always wonder like has there any country in the world have suffered from the same situation where basically what happened 2014 or 13 somewhere around there, the governor of the central bank that used to be in Libya, basically his term was about to end, but he didn't wanted to give power. So he stayed in his seat, and his deputy basically was chosen by the parliament to overtake, but he didn't want to obviously hand out the office, and he protected that by his militia. So like that guy, basically, the deputy went to the other side of the country, to Benghazi, and set up his own central bank. And now we have two of them, and each of them are basically like trying to print money and like trying to like do all of this stuff. But like when I go, most of the stuff they talk about, we associate things with history. Has any ever like in history we've had this issue like what we have right now? Like one country, two central banks, they just like we're technically we're still one country, but kind of like we have two of everything. So if anybody gets mad or being told to hand over the ministry, let's for example in Tripoli, he will leave, or somebody else will set up another ministry in Benghazi. But we're still under the same country. And that's why we most of the time will have two governments, like right now. We have two governments, one in the east side, one in the west side. But that's, I've heard about that. I think like it happens mostly in Africa. But central banks is like first time I've seen, or I keep researching and never find anything that is similar to that situation.
Yeah, I can't think of anything. I haven't heard of any of these examples where two central banks exist. A central bank hard fork? I've never heard of one.
And you know the thing, like they use the same print in the note, but it has a different signature, because below, like you would have the governor actually sign it. So like we have this huge issue that if you need to like make an exchange on a land or a house, that would be like a big chunk of money. And you have to like look at every signature, at every note, because
oh my God.
Yes, if you had someone or this money mixed up, nobody is going to accept it. For example, in Tripoli, if it came from Benghazi, nobody's going to take it. And then you're going to end up with money that is not used. And you have to send it somewhere at the other side and exchange it for less and all of this stuff. It's a huge like mess that still like I'm trying to understand if anybody in the history of a human being have lived the same way. So verifying like signatures in each note is such a like stupid thing to do.
So they're both just printing money. And what about like the banking system? Who has the banks?
They're divided. Yeah, they're basically the one in Tripoli, because when the other guy went to Benghazi and set up the bank, he cut off the infrastructure between the two. So we're not allowed to like you cannot deposit money in Benghazi and use it in Tripoli. You have to switch or have two banks at different regions. Yeah, it's a whole messed up situation. Yeah.
So you didn't happen to get an airdrop, like if you had an account in one bank, you would get money from the two banks, from the two central banks? No? Or is it just one?
Yeah, it's just you have to get two. Yeah, so you have to get one in there and one in there and do business with that one that is separated from this one with the separate like notes that have a different signature and all of this stuff. So yeah, it keeps doing it keep going in circles really. Recently, the guy from Benghazi also, just like last month, he's trying to print like another 4 billion, and because that side of Libya is kind of controlled by Russia, but I guess the Russians said like this is not the right time to like create this stuff, and the money got stuck in Malta. Actually, he actually made it happen. He printed it, but it was made in Switzerland, I think, and was traveling through Switzerland, Europe, and then Malta. And then they basically stopped it over there because with the oil situation and whatever is happening, they don't want to create like more problems in Libya. Yeah.
Fascinating. And what's the Libyan dinar like these days? Where are we at the exchange
It's
rate?
at the moment it has been stable for a year exactly at 5 dinars for $1. So throughout the last 11 years, we've been going up to like 11, 12 dinar for $1, and then back to five, and then we go up again and all of that. It depends on the printing. So for example, now it started to go up. I think it's 5.2 today because of the recent news as well that oh yeah, there is today. What happened is the government of Tripoli have decided to change the guy, the chairman of the oil ministry, but he didn't want to give office. So they were fighting each other for like the last 2 days, and finally today they managed to like overpower him and take office. So also that, and the thing is because we haven't been producing oil for the last since the Ukraine thing. I think I've told you about that. Since the Ukraine thing happened, they didn't want Libya to produce because everybody else can make more money because of that shortage. But as of today, they put another guy in, and yeah, and yeah, I think for a year we've been at five, which is great, but we still have a governor that he's not elected, but only there because of his powers and stuff. We can't trust that guy.
Yeah, I mean, so well, I mean, the good news is it's not. You haven't had a lot of inflation so far. The bad news is you have a lot of inflation up front coming up.
Coming up, yeah. 4 billion back in Malta could be here in a matter of hours. And
what was the exchange rate under Gaddafi? I think it was the dollar. The dinar was more than the dollar, wasn't it?
No. It was 1.2 to the dollar. So every 1 dinar 0.2 is $1.
Okay, so slightly less than a dollar.
We were at 3 at the beginning years of Gaddafi, but for last 15 years of Gaddafi, which is say from like 2000 or just before that until 2011, we were at 1.3.
Before that, it was 3 Libyan dinars per dollar.
Yeah.
So he revalued it and increased the value.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So hang on. So it was at 33 cents for a dollar, and then it became 80 something cents a dollar.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So suddenly the value of your money went up.
Yeah,
double.
Yeah, double, and mainly because of the huge production of oil that really kicked in at the end of because we had an embargo. We had an embargo for most of the years that Gaddafi was there by the Americans, and we're not allowed to basically do anything for. I think the first 15 years of his life, or for him becoming the leader, and then. That because of the issue with Lockerbie bombing. I don't know if you know the case.
Yes.
Case. And
from the 80s, from the mid 80s, not from the beginning of his rule, from the mid 80s.
No, not from the beginning. Yeah, when they were like not happy with him and he decided to be a bit rogue, they did that so they can put him in place and boss him basically, or control whatever is happening in Libya. And that continued, I think, until at the beginning of the 2000s, and he paid about 4 billion to the families and a couple of more billions to America and all of that. But the condition was to allow the American oil companies to come in and do deals in Libya, and that excelled very fast and very quick until basically he went a little bit more mad, and they kind of got bored of him and they decided that he needs to leave, and they used us to get rid of him. That lawless state basically that until today is just like a big mess.